If you look at the issues in that memorandum, you are taxing money transfers through phones. Who uses M-Pesa? It is not the rich people, ministers and others. It is the mama mboga in the villages who receives 100, 200 shillings from her husband in Amjengo in Nairobi or Eldoret. And now, Amjengo worker who earns 200 shillings a day keeps 100 and takes 100 home. The 100 he takes, what arrives is 88 shillings. 12% is creamed off. You are taxing kerosene. For every liter of kerosene, an ordinary person, and it's ordinary people who light their houses using kerosene, they're paying 18 shillings on every liter as tax. Even in areas where we have got the much hyped last mile electricity connectivity, you have connected electricity to people's houses, but households cannot even afford bills of 500 shillings a month. So you have connected power, but they don't use it because it's beyond their reach. So they fall back to kerosene, which they use sometimes for cooking, sometimes for lighting. And what were we told? That you are taxing kerosene because you are fighting adulteration. Who in the villages, Mama Mboga, Mama Wanjiku in the villages of Kiambu, what is adulteration to her? She doesn't know it, she doesn't care about it. You need to caution people. Today, for the first time in the history of this country, kerosene is costing more than diesel. The ordinary people live on kerosene, not on diesel. Number 3, and this is a total mismatch in what I thought the government was doing. How do you impose heavy tax on the ordinary person and then lower taxes of gamblers? Gamblers is an elitist game. Gamblers, in fact, sometimes, I don't want to use very strong language, but gamblers are outlawed in certain jurisdictions. You must impose sin tax. I would have wanted to see the president increase the price of alcohol to a level where you can collect maximum revenue. Increase the price of cigarettes, taxes on cigarettes, and collect maximum revenues. Increase the cost of gambling and collect as much revenue as possible and get the money into the kitty. If you look at the issue of the 8% now VAT, we were told when it was 16%, it was going to raise 70, was it 71 or 70 billion? Meaning that now at 8% is going to raise only 35 billion. Now, Mr. President, if you look at the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya 2010, Section 17 of the transitional clauses says that within 5 years of 2010, we should have realigned and aligned the provincial administration into the devolved system so that we can have a single administration. Today, you come to this county, you have a governor, you have a county commissioner. You go to the sub-counties, you have a sub-county administrator, you have a sub-county commissioner. You go down up to the villages, you have a village administrator, you have a chief. All these people are drawing salaries from the same kitty. If you realigned provincial administration to devolution, you will automatically save close to 5, 6, 7 billion that will ease the burden that you are putting on Wananchi. Look at the budget of the presidency. 20 billion has been set aside for running national state houses. How many of these national state houses does the president use? When you break it down, it means the state houses in this country are spending an average of 60 million Kenya shillings a day. Do we need those kind of expenditures? I know President Uhuru is not a spendthrift. I know that this money is being pilfered by other people in the name of the presidency. And those are some of the things that the Minister for Finance and the President should look at.
Now, there's the question now. You as a party, you are opposed to this, and also you have voiced your strong comments on this particular matter. But how do we move forward now that we also need to provide solutions, and these taxes are going to be meted on Kenyans? How do we move forward, and what is your party proposing? Do you go to court to challenge this, or what? Are you going to call people to the streets like ODM had suggested before it supported, or what will be the way forward? And number 2, why is ODM hiding under NASA still?
There are multiple ways of going about this. Of course, the first and immediately available avenue is to go to the courts of law and strike out this memorandum as being unconstitutional and unlawful. Unconstitutional to the extent that when the president sends a memorandum on any bill back to the House, he is only supposed to comment on the bill as sent to him for assent, not to propose new clauses and create new law, because lawmaking is not a function of the executive, it's not a function of the presidency, it's a function of parliament. So to that extent alone, a court properly sitting and directing its mind to the issues that are going before them will be able to strike out this legislation. I know that people have already gone to court. Okiya Omtata has already gone to court, and I and my party support him fully. You may recall he was my party candidate for the senatorial seat of Busia, and he's an active member of our party. So we feel very proud of him that he is championing what our party stands for. Number two, as these things go on, you are going to have very soon very spontaneous reactions from the public. Spontaneous reactions in terms of resistance, because wananchi will get to a level where they say can't pay, won't pay these taxes. And once you reach the can't pay, won't pay, then helter-skelter situation moves in, and we can have very unpleasant situations. I, for one, will go around the country with like-minded leaders and inform people very clearly that it's not just a question of saying resist taxation. Why are we resisting? I have already told you. Number three, the president knows very well that there's a lot of wasteful behavior in this country. Not just by the Jubilee government, but previous governments have also engaged in wasteful spending. But Jubilee has perfected it more than any other government before. The levels of corruption, according to the government itself, more than 640 billion is stolen through corrupt practices. That is money that can be put to something that can be helping the people of this country. The heavy debt burden that is on the people. Today, Kenyans should know that we're paying interest alone of 400 billion on public debt per annum. And debt repayment is now almost approaching 850 billion per annum. This translates into about 70% of our national revenues. If 70% of our revenues are going to debt service, and we're continuing to borrow more and more, it simply means that in another couple of years, this country will be unable to manage its debt. This country will be foreclosed by those who are lending money to us. It has happened in Sri Lanka. There's already a threat to Zambia. And we might soon get similar threats from our creditors.
Ewe Kenya inji yangu, ewe Kenya baba yangu, ewe Kenya mama yangu, sitakuacha milele.